So a movie.
Movies, back to movies. So part of classic movie night, but we watched it on Friday instead of Sunday. We watched the classic children's film, The Iron Giant. You can see that? Yeah. Actually recently just been announced they're re-releasing The Iron Giant in cinema.
Are they?
In a signature edition. It's going to be digitally remastered.
Yeah.
It's going to be released on, I think, Blu-ray eventually. It's going to have 2 new scenes in it. So I will be checking that out when it comes out in cinemas.
Yes. Also timely, as Brad Bird's new flop, Tomorrowland has been released.
Yes. So this is Brad Bird's debut feature.
Yeah.
And it's probably still his best film.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he did The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Tomorrowland and Mission Impossible 4. But I would argue Iron Giant still his best.
Yeah.
Iron Giant, in my opinion, is one of the best children's films of all time. Probably one of the best films of the 90s. I think it came out in 99.
Is it the best film to star Vincent Diesel?
Yes, it is, yeah. Yeah, it came out in 1999, so I'd say it's one of the best films of the 90s. One of the best children's films of all times. Yeah. In my top 30, 40 maybe favourite films.
Yeah. So what the fuck happens in Iron Giant?
The Iron Giant follows a young boy called Hogarth Hughes. His last name being Hughes because it's a reference to Ted Hughes, who wrote the original book.
Not Howard.
Not Howard. Hogarth Hughes, who's a kind of lonely, nerdy little boy. You know, he's not outrightly a nerd. He's an in-betweener.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Oh, sure. But he doesn't really fit in anywhere. And one day he comes across a giant metal man in the middle of the woods who the townsfolk are basically spreading rumours that, like, oh, I've seen the giant metal man, and oh, he's eating our cars and stuff like that. And Hogarth just comes across him, and the two of them form a bond of friendship as Hogarth tries to teach the Iron Giant all about what it means to live on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
And as the film goes on, you learn that you basically start to question where the Iron Giant came from, what his kind of initial motives were. And as you find out, he was actually a weapon sent by aliens to basically conquer and take over the Earth.
Yeah.
But due to the bump on his head, he doesn't remember, and he's kind of like schizophrenic. So the film is it treats its subject matter with like reverence and maturity.
Yeah.
It's a film all about life and death.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically you live your life the way you want to live it.
Yeah.
It's a very powerful message to children. You know, because like when you're a kid, all you want to do is just try and fit in with the cool kids, and Iron Giant's kind of saying like, oh no, don't worry about it. You be who you want to be.
Be you, kids.
Be you, kids.
Yeah.
And the film is deeply haunting and deeply effective in like the way it presents the story. So Hogarth is, I think, one of the best realised children's characters ever.
Yeah.
Children in these kind of films can be really annoying.
Yeah.
They can come across as just whiny little brats, and Hogarth is a whiny little brat.
Yeah.
But he's also cute and funny and charming. Yeah. But he's also selfish, like a little boy basically.
Yeah.
And the voice actor who plays him gives him a real kind of likability. You like him even though he's a little bit of a brat.
Yeah. This film sounds like E.T.
Oh, fuck that. What? Yeah. That was a criticism at the time. Like, it's just like E.T. It's better than E.T. Yeah, I said it.
E.T.'s a masterpiece.
Iron Giant's better.
Okay.
Iron Giant manages to reach the emotional heights that E.T. could only dream of.
Is it as good as Mac and Me, the E.T. rip-off that's also an advert for Mac?
Oh, we're all dancing with McDonald's. It's a little bit better than Mac and Me.
Yeah.
No, I said the Iron Giant's better than E.T.
Okay.
It manages to get across the relationship between the two of them much better. Yeah. And what makes what makes Iron Giant so great is that it's set in the perfect era. It's set in 1950s America, so the height of like the Red Scare and communism and stuff like that. So a lot of the governmental people that come out to like investigate the Iron Giant all assume he's like a weapon sent by the Russians.
Yeah.
Which is a great idea. It's perfect, really. And so you've got all the fun, like, you know, retro 50s setting. Hogarth eventually befriends a beatnik character who owns a scrapyard. And the beatnik makes like art pieces, and he begrudgingly accepts the Iron Giant to live there, you know, because he eats metal. It's the only place where he can probably hide.
Yeah.
But what makes it great is that the film takes a lot of time establishing the relationship between Iron Giant and Hogarth. Unlike in E.T., where E.T. I think spends a lot of time like Elliot investigating E.T., like trying to get him to come out and then slowly become friends.
Yeah.
Iron Giant kind of just kicks it right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Hogarth saves the Iron Giant because he's been like electrocuted, and Hogarth saves him. And the film spends a hell of a lot of time just them hanging out. Hogarth introducing him to concepts about humanity, good and evil, and the fact that it's a Warner Brothers film helps them to use the recurring imagery of Superman.
Yeah.
In Superman, it's like there are all these comic books, all these heroes, but there's Superman, who's the best of us all. He's good, and you're Superman. But then at the same time, he's got a comic book which is all about an evil character called Automo, which is like an evil robot that gets loose, and obviously that's going to be the two sides of the Iron Giant's soul, basically.
Yeah.
The film starts to get into the really kind of metaphysical when Hogarth and the Iron Giant come across a murdered deer.
Yeah.
And he has to introduce the Iron Giant to the concept of death.
Yeah.
And then that leads into Hogarth talking about, when we die, people got different ideas about what happens, where we go.
Yeah.
So it gets very deep and very heavy and very emotional. And this all eventually culminates with a governmental agent called Mansley, who is brilliant. He's a great character, and he's like investigating the mystery of the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Like where it came from. And basically everyone in Washington thinks he's a nut. Just thinks he's crazy. And he's thwarted by the Iron Giant and Hogarth every single time when he thinks he's about to get really close to revealing the secret. Every single time. And then eventually he does reveal the Iron Giant is there, and he is real. And the US military start attacking him, and this of course unleashes the inner Iron Giant. When he's provoked, he turns into weapon mode.
Yeah.
He starts attacking the townsfolk and kills some of the military. It sounds like a really heavy film, but it's not. It's actually really funny.
Yeah.
It's a really, really funny, sweet film.
Yeah.
Most of the film, like I said, is just them hanging out and, him introducing you to these new concepts. And most of the time it's done through humour.
Yeah.
As opposed to, heavy, life, man.
Yeah.
But then there are those speeches in there which add to the film. I think just adds another layer to the film. So anyway, this Mansley character is completely insane. He's completely inept. He rents a room in Hogarth's house.
Yeah.
Just to get close to Hogarth, because he knows that Hogarth knows the secret about the Iron Giant, basically trying to get it out of him.
Yeah.
And it all culminates where the military are attacking, and just as Hogarth has unprovoked the Iron Giant, basically saying, you're not a weapon. You choose who you want to be, and the Iron Giant's basically about to kill him. Mansley's like, launch the nuke now, launch the nuke. Yeah. And he fires the nuke at the Iron Giant, and the military are like, you fucking idiot, that's targeted right for here.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Mansley? We're all going to die? Yes, we're all going to die. So they only have a limited amount of time left until basically everyone gets killed.
Yeah.
And the Iron Giant at that point decides to make the heroic sacrifice to kill himself, basically. Yeah. He flies into space and he blows up the nuclear bomb to save all the townsfolk.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. It's one of the saddest moments in any children's film ever.
Yeah.
And it's great because as he's flying off, you hear Hogarth in his head saying you choose who you want to be. Yeah. And he's like, Superman. Yeah. And he blows up and he's like, oh no. Yeah. It's an emotional roller coaster ride of a film. It's so packed, filled with great moments, great humour, an emotional storyline, characters you actually care about, a brilliant period setting. We watched this right after Toy Story.
Toy Story?
Yeah, which is often held up to be the best children's film of all time. Iron Giant's better than that.
Oh my, I don't like the first Toy Story as much as the third one.
No, but it still counts as being one of the best children's films of all time.
Yeah, because it was first in that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I was like, Iron Giant's better.
I think it's one of the weakest Pixar films.
It probably is.
It's not as good as Ratatouille or Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Or all the classics.
Yeah. It's better than A Bug's Life. But no, I said I think because of the humour and the period setting and the amazing animation and the direction, Iron Giant is one of the best children's films of all time, because it does show all of life. It shows that life can be funny, life can be sad, yeah. It can be emotional, it can be difficult, it can be scary, yeah. But that's part of what living is. Yeah. And the film doesn't do it to its credit. The film doesn't do it in a heavy-handed way.
Yeah.
It just tells the story.
Yeah.
And through that, the Iron Giant is able to understand what all of life is, and at the end, that allows him to make the heroic sacrifice. One of the great things about this film is that Brad Bird was given free rein, pretty much free rein to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
The Quest for Camelot, which was a previous Warner Brothers film, was a dreadful film.
Yeah.
And its budget overran and it bombed horribly. So basically nobody really cared about 2D animation anymore at Warner Brothers because of the failure of the Quest for Camelot. So even though Iron Giant was in production, they were like, oh, we don't care anymore, do what you want. So Brad Bird is able to inject a lot of his own personal interests into the film, and stuff that I don't think a studio would want to get away with.
Yeah.
He actually allows him to get away with. Like so the fact that Hogarth and the Iron Giant basically spend about 5 minutes having this metaphysical conversation about what happens to you after you die.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that wouldn't fly in like Frozen or something, would it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have that scene.
No.
But you know, so it could it. Well,
the kids don't like that shit.
The kids don't like that shit. Well, what does it contribute to the story? Because the thing with children's films is that, you know...
Could sell a cuddly Grim Reaper toy.
You could, yeah. The thing with children's films is that in their storytelling logic, every single scene has to forward the story.
Yeah.
For fear that children might get fidgety.
Yeah.
You know, like every single scene has got to forward the story. So you can see that in something like pretty much any Disney film.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single Disney film has got to forward the story in some way. While Iron Giant is much closer to Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Where Studio Ghibli spend a lot of time just focusing on the small things. You know, images of landscapes and, you know, just the characters just having a conversation about something.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't quite go all out Studio Ghibli.
No.
It gets pretty close. So yeah, most of the time it's just the two just hanging out and just talking and just learning to be friends.
Yeah.
It doesn't really forward the plot in any way. So the animation is stunning. It just makes me kind of miss 2D animation. Again, all the kind of facial expressions that Hogarth does is just, it's like, just drawing this and like they're animating it. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And the Iron Giant's animated by using CGI, but you know, kind of like he's almost like a precursor to Wall-E.
Yeah.
In that it's all about the eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like he's got these like flashlight eyes, and as we kind of tighten, he's looking scared. You know, he's squinting, and when we open, he's happy, and when he goes into full evil mode, his eyes squint, and we have like a red glow in the middle, and it's just a brilliant design.
Yeah.
So the film is criminally. Yeah, it's creme de la creme.
Yeah.
The film is criminally underrated.
Wasn't it a flop at the time?
Yes.
Yes.
I had the pleasure of seeing it twice in the cinema when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Saw it once with my mum and then another time with my friends.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, it bombed.
Yeah.
It was mismarketed by Warner Brothers. They didn't quite know what film they had on hand. And the film received very, very positive reviews, but seems to have been forgotten about.
Yeah.
In recent years. There's a few websites which hold it up as being one of the best children's films of all time, and I really, really hope this cinema re-release manages to get it to more people, because it is an amazing film.
Yeah.
It's so affecting in a way that I think even some of the best children's films don't quite reach that heights.
Yeah.
You know, if you want some of the best American animated films, then, you know, Iron Giant's got to be one of them. It's easily as good as the best of Pixar.
Yeah.
Like it's easily as good as Wall-E or Ratatouille or anything like that. And it's just it's an incredible film.
Yeah.
It's filled with humour and emotion and great character moments and beautiful animation and a brilliant period setting. You know, you'll learn a lot about communism and the Red Scare. You know, if you're a kid and you're like, oh, that's interesting, I didn't know about that. It's got a great villain at the centre who's not really a villain, he's just an incompetent arsehole.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jennifer Aniston's in it, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
She plays Hogarth's mum, and she's fine, she's just like a down on her luck mum who's trying to get by.
Yeah.
There's a really cool like beatnik character who Hogarth befriends, and he's like a cool cat. And there's a really fun scene where like Hogarth's come late at night to hide the Iron Giant at his place, and he's like, do you want some coffee, kid? And he's like, yeah, I'll have some coffee. And he's trying to be like all like cool and suave, like a kid would be.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, but this is the espresso. He's like, Coffeezilla. He's like, I'll have it, I'm cool. I mean, he's just up all night just talking shit. He's like, and it just works within his character. It just makes sense. He's such a broad range of emotions, and and what's cool is that this is something that even most adult dramas don't do. Is that Hogarth is different around different people.
Yeah.
He acts different to different characters. So to his mum, he tries to be all like sweet and charming, but basically his mum can see right through him. To Dean, the beatnik, he tries to be all like cool and like aloof.
Yeah.
To the manslaughter detective, he's, you know, like kind of defensive and upstart. And a really fun little like just a little tiny character quirk is when he picks up the phone and he answers the phone, he always says like, "Hogarth, you're speaking, can I talk to you, please?" But he says that in exactly the same way every single time. Presumably the way his mum taught him how to speak, like on the phone. Yeah. So he's just imbued with all these little brilliant little just character quirks.
Yeah.
And it's the subtlety of the storytelling that gets across who this character is and how the story is going to unfold.
Yeah.
So I love it.
It sounds like a great film. I'll have to check it out.
You will have to check it out. We'll watch it with like, I don't know, like your little sister or something.
Yes.
Because it's rated U. I don't think there's anything in there that'll like...
I'll watch it with my 4-year-old sister.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that'll like upset her in it. So that's from the ending.
Yeah. I've actually seen a bit of the ending. Is it Vin Diesel who plays the Iron Giant?
It is, yeah, but you don't recognise him.
No.
But yeah, we'll watch it with your little sister. I don't think there's anything in there that'll like...
Offend.
No. It's just the ending that's a bit sad.
Yeah.
But it's a great film. It's highly recommended. So you can probably guess my rating. It's 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Out of the park. The best Brad Bird film. One of the best animated films of all time. Brad Bird's career only went downhill after the Iron Giant, and he continued to make some of the best animated films of all time with The Incredibles and Ratatouille.
Yeah.
So he's a very gifted filmmaker, that Brad Bird.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that he's making flop movies like Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland. But yes, so Iron Giant, I'll check it out. Any closing thoughts?
Everyone should watch it.
Everyone should watch it.
Basically, it's criminally underrated.
Yeah.
If you can track down the DVD, watch it on DVD, but it has been re-released in cinemas in the US.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll get a cinema re-release here in the UK.
Yeah.
And I'd be there front of the line while wanting to see it again. Also, it's just another closing thought. It's just that it's a great cinema experience. Yeah. I was watching a film and the shots are huge, like the size of the Iron Giant, and he's flying by, and like all the action scenes, and then how big the vistas and landscapes are. Brad Bird insisted that it be made in widescreen, which the studio didn't want. But Brad Bird was like, no, it needs to be in widescreen. It needs to be big and huge. And I've probably not even covered like all the other small little elements. There's so many brilliant little scenes in this film. Like I said, don't forward the story, but only add to the atmosphere of the scenes, which is awesome, because there's barely any children's films that do that. So, yeah, highly recommend it. I can't recommend it enough, really. So, check it out.